Hello and welcome to episode number 112 of the Savvy Social Podcast. This is a show dedicated to helping passion-led entrepreneurs and business owners just like you learn how to use social media as a tool to grow your business. I'm your host, ANDREA Jones, and I'm fiercely committed to helping you understand both the how and the why of social media marketing so that you can create connection, build community, and make your difference in the world. This show is brought to you by Traject Social, which is the world's most complete social media management tool. And it's my tool of choice when it comes to things like scheduling, managing, and especially reporting on social media. You can try them out for yourself for free by clicking the link in the show notes or in the description if you are on YouTube. All right, today we're going to talk all about the big question I've been getting from some of the students in the Savvy Social School and some of you listening to the podcast, which is all about Instagram and whether you should have one Instagram account or two. And this question actually recently came up on a coaching call in the Savvy Social School, and we coached one of the members through helping her understand if she should have one or two. And so today we're going to dive into that topic, and a little bit of a caveat is that it is a tough it's a tough thing to decide. I can't decide for you. So I'm hoping to give you enough resources and information and things to consider today so you can decide for yourself to see if this is something that you want to do. Now, I mentioned the Savvy Social School, so if you get stuck, definitely join the school. We have lots of coaching opportunities in the school for you to get your questions answered and for you to have a clearer path towards using social media as a tool to grow your business specifically, like really setting you up for success. So join the school, check out our coaching calls, and I'd love to see you there. It's only $57 a month, and you get access to coaching, courses, and done-for-you posts. And we just recently added in our diversity bundle of done-for-you posts. These are both captions, graphics, and there's some templates in there as well that will help you bring some diversity to your posts, give you all of the skin colors in your posts, and help you acknowledge some of the holidays out there, and just making sure that you have a well-rounded perspective on your potential audience and that they can see themselves in your social media account. All right. Back to the question of the day, which is, should I have a one Instagram account or two? And I want to talk a little bit about the pros and the cons of this. And then we're going to talk through some scenarios to give you some examples. And again, my goal is to help guide you through making the right decision for you. So pros of having two Instagram accounts versus one is that if you have a brand or a business or a product that speaks to different audiences, you can separate them. You can separate them by location. You can separate them by demographic. You can separate them by location. You can separate them by what language people speak. And so by separating those Instagram accounts, you can really cater the content to those specific people. Another pro is that people can opt in to follow specific types of content. And I know there's a few publications out there online who do this where they have like the general publication, like let's say it's a digital magazine, but then they also have a sub account for like women's health, and they have a sub account for food, and they have another account for home decor. You can have specific topics, like breaking down your main topic into subtopics on different accounts. That could work as well. Another pro of having two different Instagram accounts is if you have a collective. So let's say you have a business that's multiple people, but then you also have your personal brand. So you may want to have your personal brand as your own account, and then your collective, let's say it's a agency, or let's say it's a group or a show, that collective can have its own account as well, and that can help separate those two things. So those are a few pros of having multiple Instagram accounts. So let's talk a little bit about the cons of having multiple Instagram accounts. So one of the cons is that it's just going to take more time. And this is a huge one for a lot of us because time is a limited resource. So when you're looking at the cons of having a multiple Instagram accounts, you're looking at double the content. Double the content. So not only do you have to post to one platform, you have to post to another, and typically there's a reason you're separating it, so that content is probably mostly entirely different. So we're talking about the graphics, the photography, the captions, the hashtags, all of that is different. So not only will you likely have double the content, you also could have double the management as well. So that means 2 places to check for comments and messages, 2 places to actually go out and grow and network and participate in the platform. So it can be quite a lot on your plate to manage 2 different accounts. And another con is that it can be confusing to new people who are new to your brand. If they see 2 different accounts, they may wonder which one they should follow or what the differences are. Or if you're on something like a podcast, sometimes it's hard to say, follow me here, and here, and here too. Having that one centralized place can add clarity. So if you have 2 or more, that could be confusing. Now, my 2 cents on this, just as a social media strategist, having done this for years, I generally speaking recommend that you have as a few accounts as possible. So, try to combine all of your concepts and ideas under one consistent theme and try to put all of that into one Instagram account, because most of us do not have the space, the time, the energy to manage 2 accounts. So if you were on a coaching call, for instance, in the Savvy Social School, I would highly be directing you towards having the 1 account instead of 2. Now, I do want to give you some scenarios that are specific examples of how you can have 1 account or 2 or either, depending on your preferences. And it is a preference at this point as well. All right, so scenario 1, let's say you're a branding expert and you also have a podcast. So you're considering whether your podcast should have a separate Instagram account. And in that scenario, I would say no. I think you could have your podcast live under your branding expert account as well, especially if your podcast is about branding or speaks to the same people who would hire you as a branding expert. So in that scenario, I would say you need 1 account. Now, next scenario, let's say you're a business coach, but you also co-host a live YouTube show. Okay, so you're a business coach and you co-host a live YouTube show. So maybe you're considering whether you and your co-host should have a channel specifically for the show. And in that case, I would say it could go either way. If you feel like that show is so separate from your business coaching your business coaching business, that you need a separate account, then you can go that route. But likely it's going to be easier for you to keep all of that together, and likely your live show relates to what you're doing in your coaching business. All right, so next scenario, let's say you're a lawyer and you have your law practice account, but you really want to keep your work and your life very separate. And in that case, I would say absolutely have the 2 accounts. Maybe on your personal account, you love talking about politics and pop culture and some of those things that maybe don't relate to your law practice. In that case, even though your practice is your name, I would still recommend having 2 separate accounts, one for personal, maybe it's a private account, and one that is your public lawyer account. All right, another scenario. Let's say you're a tarot card reader and you also teach yoga, and you're wondering if you should have your tarot card business on one account and your yoga teaching business on another account. And what I would suggest is really to try to keep it under one. Likely there's a lot of overlap with those two audiences, and people who like your readings and like your teaching probably like them because they like you. So that would be a great opportunity to create a personal brand. And it sounds like in this scenario, you are an eclectic person and multi-passionate person. So who knows what's going to come in the future? Keep that one personal brand and give yourself the space to explore other things under that personal brand. All right, last scenario. Let's say you are a business with multiple locations. You've got locations in multiple cities across the nation, and you're wondering if you should have one corporate account or if you should have accounts for each location. And in this scenario, it depends on how varied your locations are, whether they're franchisees or under the corporate brand, but likely you'll want to have separate accounts for the different locations so that you can connect and interact with those people at those various locations. Now, with this scenario as well, depending on the style of local business, you can likely reuse some of that beautiful content that you're creating on the corporate account into the local accounts as well. So the beauty of the local accounts will be that you can repurpose some content, but then you can also have that connection point with the local audience because they'll be able to see that that location who's interacting with their posts is relevant to them and to what they're doing. All right, so I hope this podcast episode helps you understand and make a decision on whether you should have one Instagram account or two Instagram accounts or more. And it's really up to you. It's really a matter of preference. All right, up next on the show, we have The Power of Brand Strategy with Amanda Schumann. This is going to be a fantastic conversation. You guys are going to love Amanda. And if you love the show, please rate, review, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit the bell, wherever you are checking out this podcast. Show us some love. That really helps us keep the show going and keep the lights on. And our sponsors love it. We love seeing your reviews, and it helps keep us in the top as well. We have been solidly in the top 100 of the marketing podcasts in 2020 on Apple Podcasts, and I'd like to keep us there, and I only can do that with your support. So thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you for your love, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.